Welcome to our session on artificial intelligence roles and responsibilities. In this lesson, we are going to map out exactly who does what when a company decides to bring artificial intelligence into their daily operations. Understanding these roles is a fundamental skill for any auditor. The real-world utility of this knowledge comes into play the moment a technology project goes off the rails. If an intelligent chatbot hallucinates financial data or a predictive model shows bias, you need to know precisely whose office to walk into to investigate the root cause. Knowing these categories allows you to quickly identify if a failure is a technical glitch from the engineers or an oversight failure from the executive board. Before we dive into the specific job titles, we must establish a ground rule. Not every company will have every single one of these roles. The specific jobs a company creates depend entirely on how large the company is and how they choose to adopt the technology. Think of it like acquiring a car. If your company decides to build a custom sports car from scratch, you will need to hire mechanical engineers, aerodynamic specialists, and factory workers. However, if your company just leases a standard sedan from a local dealership, you do not need any of those factory workers. Similarly, if a business simply buys an off-the-shelf software tool from a third-party vendor, their technology department likely will not need to hire specialized data scientists to build anything. The first major group we need to examine is leadership and strategy. This category is all about defining the grand vision, setting the goals, and creating the roadmap for how the organization will adopt intelligent systems. These are the captains steering the ship. First in this group is executive management. These are the top-tier leaders of the organization. Their primary job is setting the tone at the top, which means establishing a corporate culture that values responsible technology use. They are the ones who must officially sign off on the overarching strategy. Most importantly, executive management holds the ultimate accountability. If the newly implemented system causes harm to the business or to the public, the final blame rests on their shoulders. Next, we have the Chief AI Officer. This person acts as the primary commander for technological integration and reports directly to the executive management team. Think of them as the dedicated project manager for the entire company's technological leap. Depending on the size of the business, this might be a brand new, standalone job title. In other cases, an organization might simply attach these duties to an existing executive, like the Chief Information Officer, asking them to wear two hats. Finally, in the leadership tier, we have the AI Steering Committee. A steering committee is just a formal advisory board made up of leaders from entirely different departments across the company, like finance, marketing, and legal. Because these systems can disrupt every corner of a business, this cross-functional group gets together to ensure the technology strategy actually helps their specific departments rather than hindering them. Sometimes a company will build a brand new committee for this, but often they will just add this topic to the agenda of an existing technology or innovation committee. Moving down from leadership, we enter the developmental and operational category. These individuals are usually found within the information technology department. If leadership decides where the ship is sailing, this group is the engine room. They physically create, implement, and maintain the solutions. The first role here is IT development. These are the inventors and builders. This group includes data scientists, software engineers, and specialized researchers. Their job is to write the code and train the models to solve specific business problems. If the company wants a tool to predict inventory shortages, the development team builds it from the ground up. Once the developers finish building the tool, they hand it over to IT operations. IT operations acts as the mechanics. They take the finished software, deploy it onto the company servers, and ensure it runs smoothly day and night. They maintain the supporting infrastructure to ensure the system does not crash when thousands of people try to use it at the same time. Bridging the gap in this group is product management. Product managers act as vital translators. Technical engineers often speak in complex jargon and might build features that are mathematically perfect but incredibly confusing for a normal person to use. The product manager stands between the deep technical staff and the everyday end users, ensuring that the final software is highly usable and actually solves the problem it was meant to solve. Our third major category is the users. These are the people whose daily lives are directly impacted by interacting with the new systems, along with the staff dedicated to supporting them. They are the drivers and passengers of our metaphorical vehicle. The most obvious role here is the end users. These are the individuals actually clicking the buttons and reading the outputs. End users can be internal employees using a smart tool to draft emails, or they can be external consumers interacting with a smart recommendation engine on a shopping website. To support the internal employee end users, we have human resources. When intelligent automation takes over routine tasks, employee job descriptions naturally change. Human resources must step in to manage job classifications and organize relevant job training programs so employees can learn how to work alongside their new digital assistants. To support the external users, we rely on customer service. If a customer gets confused by an automated chatbot or feels a smart pricing algorithm treated them unfairly, they are going to call the help desk. Customer service provides the necessary human support to these customer end users. Our final category is governance and oversight. This is the critical safety net. These roles focus on ensuring that the organization adheres to ethical principles and meets all compliance requirements. Think of them as the safety inspectors and traffic cops of the corporate world. The Governance Committee oversees the big picture. They are responsible for managing the overarching governance program and writing the official policies. They also report on program metrics, which means they check the data to ensure the company is actually obeying its own rules. Next is risk management. Every large company has a master plan detailing things that could harm their business. The risk management team evaluates the specific dangers introduced by new algorithms and integrates those concerns into the overarching enterprise risk management planning process. Then we have information security and privacy. These are the vault guards. Intelligent models require massive amounts of data to learn. This team ensures the security of the data and information systems. They also manage all privacy-related concerns throughout the entire life cycle of the solution. Finally, we have internal audit. That is us. Our job is to be the independent inspectors. We are responsible for assessing the technology-related risks as a formal part of the overarching audit plan. Let us do a quick recap. We explored 4 pillars of accountability. Leadership sets the vision and takes the ultimate blame. The developmental group builds and maintains the actual machinery. The users interact with the system and receive vital support from human resources and customer service. And governance provides the ethical and secure boundaries that keep the entire operation safe and legal. That brings us to the end of this topic. Remember that all the important concepts, definitions, and scenarios from this session are covered in the multiple choice questions on rucloud.com. You should ideally solve the chapter-based questions there to deeply reinforce your learning and test your readiness before moving on to the next session.